Welcome to the first live duel on the channel. It's me piloting my patented Pendulum Magician's deck against Bryan's #1 deck, his Paleo Frogs deck, and he is very much excited to show off his ultimate rare Swamp Frogs. Let's see if he gets a chance to do that, as he has won the die roll, and this is exactly what I was afraid of. Playing through back row decks are really tough. You don't want to get your Pendulum Summon hit with Solemn Strike or something like that, and I'm dreading his opening turn here. Sets 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1 monster and passes. And I'm sweating at this point. This is why I run this card even at 1, Instant Fusion. With the amount of draws you have in this deck, you're going to see it all the time. I know he doesn't have hand traps. I'm just playing it to get a body on board and hopefully bait something out. Now he activates Canadia and flips it face down. I'm not sure why he did that. I think he just doesn't want me to link it away. But I know he doesn't have any hand traps as he's got nothing in his hand. So I was just trying to force out a negation of some sort because I didn't want it to be used on Spell Power Mastery. So of course I searched the Servant. Under normal circumstances you would use, ideally, you would use them in reverse order, but now I'm activating Allure of Darkness. I'm shuffling with cards and then letting him cut because I had searched. I'm going to draw those 2 cards. And I'm going to banish a Mighty Master of Magic. At this point, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be able to summon one off of Mighty Master. And now I'm using Pendulum Call. I'm going to find Harmonizing Magician and Performer Pal Celestial Magician, if memory serves. Yes. I took Black Fang Magician out of the deck because now with Selene it becomes redundant and you pretty much always want to have Performer Pal Celestial Magician. It's just by far the better card at this point. I special summon Magician's Souls. My copies have still not come in yet, so I'm still using the proxy. And I'm going to send a copy of Jackal King to the graveyard, remembering to put counters on my Servant for the pen call. And I know where I'm going with this. If I'm not mistaken, I'm going to try and set up Selene here, but I believe there's going to be an issue. All right, so that's my 3rd counter. And now I'm going to activate Servant's Effect. And again, normally I would go with the Jackal King, but I know he doesn't have any cards in hand, so he can't Nibiru me. He doesn't have any hand traps. I don't have to worry about that. Now he activates a 2nd Canadia, trying to target the Mighty Master, but he forgot that he can't, and he has to redirect it towards Servant. Now, I could have negated it here, but I didn't, because I thought he might have something worse, so I didn't know if I wanted to waste it. And, yeah, he's going to summon out his other Canadia that was in the graveyard, which he changed to the activation of a trap card. So yeah, Mighty Master is very tough for this deck to deal with, especially when he didn't end up with a Toad. Now I'm going to draw again. Activating a Pot of Desires. I'm looking for a low scale as I don't have one in my hand right now. I believe my hand is just Harmonized Magician and one other card, I think, escapes me. No, I think it's just Harmonized Magician at this point. Checking my banished. Making sure there's still Jackal Kings in the deck. Link summon. Yeah, you would go there. So I link into Anima just to create space as I'm going to Pendulum summon. And I want to be able to use both slots with Harmonizing Magician's effect. Okay, so what I was doing there was making sure that there was something that Harmonizing could bring out, just in case I had banished all the targets. Oh, no, maybe not. I'm gonna link or synchro summon into FA Dawn Dragster, another spell or trap negate. I still have the second Harmonizing in my hand, so I think I drew one off of the Pot of Desires. And then I just attack into the Canadia, and I'm stuck at this point. Him flipping those two cards face down actually really hindered my turn, probably more than he even realizes at this point. Now I'm just marking what level the Dragster is as its levels go down whenever it uses its negation effect. And he sets another one and passes off again to me. So I draw and scale. I scaled a Wisdom Eye Magician and replaced it with Purple Poison Magician. Flip those two face up, and now I've made Celine. Going to use Celine's effect, counting how many spells are in my graveyard. One. And he hits me with Solemn Judgment, cutting his life points down to 4,000. Ultimate or Ghost Rare Solemn Judgment. Yeah, I'm not going to use Harmonizing's effect. I'm just going to Link Summon. Or not Link Summon. So I then Synchro Summon after Pendulum summoning Harmonizing Magician and the Wisdom Eye Magician into my Borreload Savage Dragon, putting a third Spell and Trap negation on the board. And at this point, I think I'm fairly safe, and I've got the game in hand. So I attack with Mighty Master. He moves to the battle phase. I negate his trap effect, which I forget what he had activated.
Or does it gain all of Celine or half?
Half. Celine has 1850.
Oh, fuck.
Some deliberation. And I'm just going to attack. And I believe that is the match. Or at least the first round. And go ahead. Oh, he was just able to survive. Yeah, and he scoops his... Okay, we're into round 2. Now, I have sided out the Time Pendulum Graph and a few other cards, assuming I was going to go second, but he let me go first. And again, strong start with Instant Fusion, much to the chagrin of Bryan. Again, Spell Power Mastery. Again, searching for the Servant of Endymion. My opening hand, if I remember correctly, is very bad. As I anticipated to go second, as I said. So instead of combo pieces, I believe I have at least one Cosmic Cyclone in and things like that. Just not what I wanted to see at all. Well, yes, what I wanted to see. Just what I wanted to see second, not first. But I'm still hoping to put something together here. Activate Desires. try and add some mustard to my hand.
Both harmonizers are in there. Oof. Yes. That's what I love to hear.
As you can see, I have Cosmic Cyclone, a Magician's Souls, and some Pendulum monsters. I think a Jackal King. Pondering what I'm going to do next, as my hand is not good. Counting spells, things like that. He really threw me for a loop here. I'd also banished both Harmonizing Magicians, and I was not happy about it. Now I'm activating Soul Special Summoning effect, sending a Jackal King to the graveyard. Logic being I'm going to bring him back later, under ideal circumstances. For this matchup, I actually took out one of the Jackal Kings because I didn't want to... They're not as useful against primarily a back row deck.
Celine, 1, 2, 3.
So now I've Link summoned into Celine after normal summoning the Wisdom Eye Magician.
3. Go ahead.
And it's going to bring back the Jackal King, and I have set a copy of Cosmic Cyclone, as I was unable to get my Servant's effect because I did not draw enough spell cards, unfortunately. And again, he sets 3, sets 4, and sets 5, and passes. Again, not looking great for me. In his end phase, I activate the Cosmic Cyclone, hit one of his back row, and it's a Solemn Strike. So it was a very good hit, and that puts 3 counters on Servant, I believe.
These 3 counters.
Now I summon a second Jackal King off of Celine's effect, also in the end phase.
And then draw for turn.
Draw 1 for turn. I set up 2 monster effect negations. Not really optimal for what I'm playing against right now. I'm just trying to make do with what I have. Now I'm putting the 3rd counter on Servant, and I didn't want to do this. I really didn't, but I just had to. So I activate Servant's effect to bring out a Mighty Master. I shift my 2 Jackal Kings to attack mode. Attack with Celine. And
Come from again? Was he in your hand?
Last turn.
Extra. Yeah, I know. Last turn. No, where did he? Was he in your extra or was he in your hand?
Came out of my hand.
Okay.
In fact, nothing has come from the extra deck.
Canada?
On.
oh, he tries to flip one of my Jackal Kings face down, and I neg with the Mighty Master of Magic. And I lose 50 life points because his frog is beefy and has 2,000 defense points, which I had no idea. So I then attack with the Jackal King, attack with a second Jackal King for 24, and then the Mighty Master for 28. Out of every play in the game, this is one I really regret, setting my Servant back in scale to put counters on things. It seemed like a good idea at the time, but ideally I would never set up my scales like this, as a Pendulum summon is almost impossible now. It was a really bad idea. I should not have done it. Don't ever do that if you can avoid it. But I am using those counters I had used to get Millenniumize Restrict, and I should have realized that that wasn't such a big deal right now. because I think it's a back row deck, not Salaman Great or something. Very bad decision. Don't do that. Don't ever do that. Bryan just contemplating his next move here. And his next move, if I'm not mistaken, hurts me a lot.
Tribute these 3.
He's tributing 3 monsters for his raw sphere mode. I mistakenly take away Millennium Eyes Restrict, but we're going to fix that in a second.
Set. No, not Millennium. It was him.
Yeah, switch that back.
Sorry.
Now, I'm in big trouble here as I've locked out of the Pendulum summon, and it's not looking good for me. Yeah, I'm trying to think of what I do as I have drawn a Chronograph Sorcerer, and I just don't know what I'm going to do. So I do the only thing I can think of to do. I Tribute Summon the Sphere mode in order to summon the Chronograph Sorcerer, and then attack with Chronograph Sorcerer and then Selene, and that is enough for game. Now, he could have used Solemn Judgment on my summoning of the Chronograph Sorcerer, but it wouldn't have helped him as he would have had enough life points to survive the attack from Selene, and he had 2 set copies of Get Out waiting for me to summon from my extra deck again, but unfortunately, I can't Pendulum summon, so that's what his plan was, and unfortunately, it just didn't work out for him. The Sphere mode really hurt, but I was able to play through it, and it was a good game by Bryan.